The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Once more into the breach do we go, dear friends. Okay, what happened here? No audio, no nothing. Okay, hang on a second. Got to find out what happened here. About three different things changed here on my machine so far today. I'm not exactly sure what happened.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
There we go. We're back in. We're back in the groove, folks. S&P is up 14 points at 2309. Volume is 2.2 billion shares. He probably wanted to see some kind of high out here with some volume. And it's been kind of light. Now, there's kind of a lot of index volume. There's very light equity volume, as at least through 1 o'clock when I checked. And just add up all the volume in the S&P 500 compared to normally what it is. And there just wasn't a lot. A lot of people buying index futures again and not literally buying the underlying out there. At least the funds are not buying a lot of it. And some of the times you can find out that volume comes in later in the day when the people that own the funds may already own the stocks, and they just take them out of their bin and put them in to the bin of the ETF that day. An easy way to sell. You know, you got a customer. And that sometimes comes in later in the day. They have a little bit of leeway in those. But anyway, 2309. Volume is good, but if you were looking for some kind of sign of strength, I would have thinking we would have been turning about 2.5 to 2.8 billion shares right now, more likely the 2.8 billion shares. So push up here on a lighter volume. Does that mean it could not go higher? The answer is no, because I've seen I think I spent an entire month once in August with no volume watching the market creep up 3 points on the S&P each and every day. I want to think it had to be back in 2004 or 5 or 6 or something. I remember it was just exceedingly painful. There was no volume. And we talk about volume today in the billions, and I remember thinking that back then I think it was like 600 or 700 million shares. It was just like nothing all through the afternoon, and it just would close a couple points higher. Sometimes you have these markets just slowly go higher. Of course, when it did finally break, I think early in September, it was a huge break. So you are going to get the reaction to those. The question is, what is your timing like? Anyway, kind of getting started there. The other big news of the day pretty much was the dollar index. It's up 50 cents today, $100.63. A little bit of a reversal in the TLT today. I was kind of opining yesterday why I didn't like probably one of the worst bond auctions, at least for the 10 years yesterday. And I thought, man, it was sometimes you just get those little feelings, the little hairs in the back of your neck going, maybe too much too soon, maybe just a complete break to the other side. Gold index, gold futures anyway, down. And let's see, what did I check here? 1236. It's off $3. I think it was up to 1245 earlier in the day. We'll look at some charts. I was kind of thinking either a top was in or all the easy money was in the last couple of days. We'll look at a couple of more charts that I've had in my newsletter the last few days. And then, of course, energy making one of the best signals out here in charts, and we'll try to get to those also today. You can give me a call at 877-927-648. And if our caller from yesterday can call in and let us know how he did on his trade with Amazon yesterday. He was looking for it to hit 825, and that's exactly what it hit, 825 today. We'll see whether he sold it or not. But I think they were Friday expirations for 825. Anyway, it's printing at 823. So we got a few of those things to go on. And, of course, we like to start the show off with a little bit of history each day.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Again, in 1969, a giant new airplane, 231 feet long, weighing 735,000 pounds and capable of carrying up to 490 passengers, makes its maiden flight. Before long, the Boeing 747 has made jet flight a commonplace of daily life for millions of travelers. Of course, before that, you really had, I think, I grew up in Hawaii, and I left when I was 10, but this way I would have been 9. So I kind of remember going out to the beach, pretty much growing up till I was about 9, and the beaches would, you'd have some people on it, but they wouldn't be just like jam-packed like the ones down here in Clearwater Beach are on a spring break weekend. But man, we started, that probably was about 1969. Man, they started to pile in, and I don't know what you can say, but before then you could take 707, but it used so much gas. I think the tickets were almost twice of what they were on a 747. Even back then, I think the prices were maybe $800 for a round-trip ticket. That's a lot in 1969, but I think they were $1,300 or $1,400 on a 707. And if you wanted to go there, of course, it was a 4-day trip on a ship. So many people, we didn't have that many visitors. Vacationers. The advent of the 747 really launched Hawaii as a vacation destination, and probably it was a good time to leave for us anyway. As I said, those beaches were kind of swamped after that. I kind of liked having the island to ourselves. Other than a lot of barnstorming F-4 pilots coming back off of aircraft carriers, missing half of wings. Sometimes the undercarriage fell off. We spent a lot of time up at the airstrip on our bicycles watching these airplanes come back, hit the runways, and spout huge plumes of hydraulic fluid and things falling off of them. It's quite the entertainment to be a young kid there. But on this day in 1969, the world became much smaller, and the planes became much bigger. What else is going on out here? Not much in the news. It's, basically we were talking about a Trump effect earlier with saying a little bit more about the taxes coming out. We'll look at some of the ones, some of the stocks moving out here today. We'll look at a lot of the charts that are probably saying some fairly good things about the energy market. We'll look at some of the stocks that topped out and gave some fairly decent signals in the gold market. And that may be the end of the show. We'll be back.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And a question, was Obama there? And actually, Obama and I went to the same school. He was a year younger, or at least a grade under me. We both had the same first-year teacher, Mr. and Mrs. Shima Bucaro. And that's about the only thing I remember about probably that entire year was her name. I have no idea what she looked like. But first grade, Mrs. Shima Bucaro. My brother looked it all up and dug it up, told me. I didn't ever think it was that big a deal, but he did. And he went to the same grade school. He was just 4 years older. Anyway, we've got Coeur Mining, CDE. This had earnings today, and it didn't do well. Anyway, down on some fairly big volume. The previous low on CDE is the $8.65 low from December 23rd. Looks like it's well on the way there. That should be some fairly decent support. And again, we'll get into the golds a little bit more. Other stocks gapping down is Coty, COTY. This thing really had or still does have a low down here on December 2nd at 1782. What is that? About 10 million shares. Already have 17 million shares today, so I suspect you're at least going to get down there and maybe even break that. If I'm not mistaken, this is some kind of, well, before I stick my foot in, I will actually look it up for what this company does just to make sure. Beauty, yeah, I thought it was. Beauty Products Worldwide. Company operates fragrances, color, cosmetics, skins, and body care. So not doing well. Again, that's another retail deal out there. Dynergy, the energy trader, down a little. I'm not going to call that a big gap. Coca-Cola whiffed on earnings and is down. Volume, okay, it's not that big, but this thing never looked any more than it was in a trading range back to December 1st low at 39.88. Certainly we'll probably have enough volume to get back down into that. MAS also on earnings, open lower, has pulled back a lot of this gap lower out here today. Volume's fairly decent. And of course, the big loser out here, well, I clicked on the wrong one. It was supposed to be the loser, was Twitter. Apparently, the president-to-be and the current president are the only ones using Twitter anymore. And they didn't like that. They didn't like that Jack Dorsey wasn't going to decide to either go to one company or the other. He's going to continue being the CEO of both. Kind of tough to have someone come in and take over a sinking ship, as Twitter looks like it still has problems finding a way to make money on the scale that its stock price at one time showed. Is it going to go out of business? The answer is no. Is it going to get bought? It's hard to see that it will unless it's at a much cheaper price, because, again, they need to figure out how to do it. Down on heavy volume today. The last major low out here had 73 million shares on October 14th at 1628. You got to figure that we're going to get into that. It did bounce off that with lighter volume, so you could have seen some reason to be long this thing at that 1616 test of December 23rd. Down today, though, on 81 million shares, so it's probably going to blow out that $16.28 low. Normally, when these stocks of these levels blow out those lows, there's some tests out here at about the high 13s, back to May 24th and February 11th. But guess what? My guess is that this thing's headed to $10 now. I can't see anything in the earnings call or the way that they talk that says that there's anything that's going to turn around this company until they get a CEO that's dedicated to this one alone. Those were gaps down. What do we have for gaps up? Take a quick look. AZN AstraZeneca, isn't it? I think that's what it is. ANZ. Yeah, AstraZeneca. Nice pop upon this one. The IBB's up a little bit, not that much, but what the big problem you have with these biotechs right now is that they, and the IBB both, is a lot of these on the way down had some big volume candles. In the case of this one, it's the October 27th move down at 20 million shares, into it today on 5 million shares. And that tells you just how, even on a nice day like this with some news behind its sales, that is. One of the bigger poppers out here, popettes, is Cliff Natural. Had very good earnings. Got to 11.35 today. Opened above $10. Now, this is what you want to send a sign of strength, and that is a lot of volume. It opens higher. It opens higher and closes even higher than that, and holds the previous high, and does so on a lot more volume. This one now is probably a little hot. You're probably going to get a chance on a pullback on this one, maybe in the low 10s. To get back in this again, but it's definitely a sign of strength on that. What else do we have out here? All these same stocks. We were talking about how energy stocks look like they were doing fairly good. We've also been talking about, since September, how many of these double gaps exactly have called the bottom in many of these. Hess is one of these, I think, that did it yesterday. You have a double gap that goes back. I think we actually talked about this one yesterday. Nice pop back up today. Not a lot of volume. Some of the other energy stocks out here doing a little bit better. RRC, what's in this one? That wasn't it. Suncor Energy. This one's a little better one. No double gap in this one, but basically filled half the gap. This gap came up on 6 million shares. You came into it with 4 million shares yesterday, and nice pop back up out of this. But good energy on the way up to the December 12th high. Nice low volume pullback. Took a lot of time. Bored a lot of people out, and then, of course, you get the bounce out here today. VOD, a little gap out here, not really saying anything. Let's go to the percentage advancers, and we'll just go through these real quick and see. Cordia Therapeutics, again, a nice bounce with a lot of volume. Same thing, though. This one looks a little better, but same thing. You've got some high volume down days as you go through, what is this? September 26th, 27th, 28th. You had some big volume days. Now, you had a little bit more today. But again, you got a lot of supply line going above that. So if I was probably long that, I'd probably be checking my cash and ringing the register to see if there's anything else out here that had Bank of California, Black Bod, some of these. I'll look at a few of these during the break. We'll try to pick up some of the energy ones that I was looking at this morning. We'll go through those in the next segment. Give me a call, 877-927-6648.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Well, it threw me a curve here. Actual good music operator. Coming back. Okay. Just give me a heads up before. I could probably listen to that for the next 3 minutes. We were talking about energy and a lot of these stocks out here in the energy sector. Patch had been giving a fairly decent signal I was hoping they'd stay down so I could buy them. They gapped away this morning, and I didn't get a chance. So go through these anyway. Diamondback Energy, which has the symbol FANG, which I always wondered how many people are just buying FANG because everybody on CNBC keeps talking about the FANG stocks. I figure that there's more than a few morons that are buying it for that reason alone. But FANG, which is Diamondback Energy, gapped up with a good sign of strength back on the 30th of November. Got back into that with 9 million shares, a little bit more. So you know it's going to get retested. Then gets retested with nothing yesterday on February 8th. Got down to 96.05 and then boom, right back up there. Boom. So it probably wouldn't have been the one that I went after, but it was a kind of an interesting stock. Some of the other ones out here that I think are more interesting or were more interesting were FRO. Now, this one hasn't bounced yet, but fairly good test of some of these lows. At least they're not expanding in volume. Energy coming back. I kind of like this one out here. This may need to bounce and then come back down with a little bit lighter energy, but certainly not more energy than the previous lows in this. HP, not the HP you're thinking about. This is the oil services company, has come back to its big sign of strength. This one may be a player out here. We'll have to see how things go the next day. Big sign of strength on the 30th of November. That date seems to come up a bit. 5.5 million shares, back into it with 2.8 million shares yesterday, back into a double gap, kind of out here. So some of these things do look like they have a good opportunity, at least at fairly decent support levels. MRO, which is Marathon Oil Company, another one that came down to its double gap and ticked it, pretty much ticked it yesterday. Maybe one more attempt down here in this $15 to $15.50 range, which I'll take another look at it. But again, big sign of strength on the 30th of November, 75 million shares. It's back into this range with about 13 million shares. So fairly decent looking. And again, you would have seen these this morning in the newsletter. Wouldn't have to wait for my show today. OIH, another one. Now this one, again, like I'm saying, this looks like a pretty good setup. Some of these things have already bounced a little bit today, but I think maybe there's a few more days where you might be able to pick some of these up. So you want to be watching them and marking down some of these buy points out here. OIH, this one's got a double gap right at 30 bucks. Now, yesterday you kind of got into this big sign of strength on the 30th of October with 18 million shares. Got into it with 6 million shares. So you're going to bounce a bit. Again, to get my risk reward right, I want to get about half these big gaps up. If I don't get it, then that's fine. I'll let other people roll the dice on it. But this one at about $30.25, I'd be all over it if it had volume as it had yesterday or even today. But today, light volume bounced, so just 3.5 million shares. So I'm not going to be surprised if this does not come back in here, but it looks beautiful right at the moment. Maybe something changes out here. Some of these other stocks that have been in a downtrend, like RIG, had a nice bounce. Again, lots of signs of strength. This one got into a gap that goes back to the 1st of December. But again, these things are looking pretty sweet. This one's got a double gap at about $11.50. I would hope that maybe crude pulls back just a little and lines a few of these up, but they are looking fairly decent. Let's see if there was any other ones out here. There are a few more I had in the newsletter, I think. WPX. WPX out here. Now, this one gave the signal, and I should have bought it probably at the close yesterday. It bounced today. I'm hoping to get a pullback in it. WPX Energy, big sign of strength, of course, on the 30th of November. 20+ million shares came into it with 10 million shares. So that's everything you want, everything I look for. A nice pullback, not a lot of energy. Finally gets back into the gap with about half the volume of the gap up. Not a bad looking setup. I don't know a lot about the company, but looks pretty good out here. So those are some of the energy stocks out here. Got an email to look at CCJ real quick. A lot of news about Fukushima last few days. I read some of the articles, and I think that's why you've gotten the pullback in this one. Nuclear energy, of course, can be fairly dangerous. Never really figured out or ever heard the good word on why they built it right next to the ocean in a place that has lots of seismic activity. And in the special, it was kind of interesting because they showed this stone where the last big tsunami came in and washed up. And it's, I don't know, about 100 feet higher than where the nuclear plant is. I don't know what happened out there that people thought. But the one explanation I had that I saw in the news was that they thought it was a 1 in 1,000 year event. But it doesn't matter if it's 1 in 1,000. That's probably too much of a risk. Anyway, a lot of news. Anyway, the article, the beginning of this article, basically said that we're now up to 500 sieverts for Fukushima. And it was very misleading because what they said is it's what we've measured. Well, as they get farther and closer and build more devices that actually can stand being in the high heat and radiation of it, they continue to get closer, so the radiation is going to be higher. So is the radiation at the same place they measured it before, more or less? Well, it was about the same. So kind of a misleading article. And again, a lot of these articles are all about being clickbait these days. But nothing really happening over there too much. But of course, you get these kind of drive-by articles. Probably the thing I would say the most worrisome is they really haven't gotten anything any better. It really hadn't gotten any worse, but it hadn't gotten any better, which is probably worse, isn't it? I'd think so. They've had lots of time to work on it. But this is not bad looking. He had a big move back down. It went back up to its high. It's got high volume out here. But my guess is this thing's going to need a little bit of a rest before we go out and take a much bigger look at it. What else do we have going on out here? Wanted to look at some of the stocks that had been moving today. And on the movers, well, we already looked at Cliffs. Some of the ones that are not doing so well. You'd think that if you were making robots today, that you'd have to have a guaranteed path to millions and billions. Well, not so much for the little sweeper that runs around your house. Maybe they'll make some other thing. iRobot on the downside today. We'll talk about this when we come back.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And we'll go to Dave. How you doing, Dave?
Doing fine, man. I'm the one that called yesterday about Amazon. My original interest in it was the gap on February 2nd of 828.26. And as you said earlier, we hit 825. I'm about doubled in my option. I'm just curious if it has, the volume is below average.
Yeah,
average.
One of the things I liked about your trade yesterday was there have been a couple of very good days of shorting. About 20% of the shares on the 3rd were shorted, 17% on the 6th and 7th. Yesterday, though, it went down to 14%. So it looks to me like that's kind of a lot of people were getting out of those short positions, and you didn't have enough grist for the mill. So I kind of like if you pulled the trigger at 825, I think that was probably the best you can do with the available information. Could it go higher tomorrow? It could. I just dislike the fact that the shorts are leaving. If they would have piled on a little bit more yesterday, I would have thought that maybe you wanted to hold till Friday, but maybe this thing just goes around 825 till tomorrow. Now, next week, probably a better look for next week. If you had next week's, it would have been different, but just didn't see a lot out here. Like you said, the volume the last 3 or 4 days out here, just nothing really to yell about. So again, I'm not a real big bull on this. In fact, if I was thinking about shorting it, I might pull the trigger right here at 825.
I'm kind of with you. I was just hoping it would get up and kiss that February 2nd candle.
I think if you had next week's, can you get back up there next week to 830, 835 and fill that gap? I think you could, but with the horrible volume the last 3 days, and that big volume day down on the gap low, it's not uncommon to fill half the gap and then come right back down to that low, and that would be just the risk reward probably not very good for thinking that you get that done on a Friday too. Yeah. So I think I like the trade, and pretty good. And today you really had the kind of the free roll of the dice because you could always hold it till tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But unless something vastly changes here today before the end of the day and some volume, it just doesn't look to me like you're squeezing any more shorts out of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
What else? Cover it. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks for the call. Always want to hear how the trades actually end up after a while. Question about IRBT, which is iRobot, which we brought up before the break. We'll go back to that right here. And, you know, this one, RBT, had huge shorts in the last 2 days, so they were right. This thing normally averages about, I don't know, 10, 12% every day. Now, remember, people short at the beginning of the day and then they cover. Option market makers, not option, regular stock market makers do go short to handle liquidity problems throughout the day. So there's going to be shorts no matter what. It's more of the trend. And you had 2 heavy days of shorting the last 2 days. So it looks like they kind of felt like they knew what was going on. An inordinate amount of shorting, let me put it that way. And you've had some days out here all the way in this. Every time this thing hit about 60 and above, had a lot of people shorting the stock. So a lot of people thought that was about it. Anyway, down on huge volume today. And, you know, you're probably looking at $46 if you're short this thing already. 46.50 is probably the support level on this thing after it came down. Now, is it going to take a month to get there or 2 weeks? I don't know. But I wouldn't, you know, kind of a bad time to wisp out here, especially with the market also kind of having some light volume today. In fact, what do we have now? 2310 on the S&P cash volume is just 2.5 billion shares. So do we continue to go up tomorrow? We could. But I just don't see a lot of juice behind this market today. Options are kind of telling us that we more likely would pull back probably to that 2285 level that we heard or that we saw on Wednesday kind of in the morning. So I don't think there's a whole lot to the upside out here. This looks to me like this thing's kind of gyrate back down, but maybe not hit that 2240 that I was looking for to begin with. Anyway, you can call me at 877-927-6648. We can look at anything that you want to look at. Let's go out here and see. Oh, we were looking at stocks that had earnings. And did we go through all of those already? Went to iRobot. Did we look at Coca-Cola? We did. Regeneron, pharmaceuticals, and did I already do Twitter? I think we did. So that pretty much sums that up. Now what we get to, let's take a look at stocks that are reporting after the bell tonight. That's ATVI and Activision Blizzard. Not doing much before earnings out here. What I disliked about this one is it went right back up into the previous high with half the volume. So this one is kind of given a very nervous signal at the high. Not only that, the energy off this December 2nd low was 4, all the way back up to this light volume high on February 3rd. Now, if you were going to pull the trigger, you had to do it that pretty much that day at the close, or maybe even the next day. I wouldn't be chasing this one out, but certainly doesn't look like it's got a lot of juice to go higher. Expedia, EXPE. This one is going to be kind of a good read. I'm wondering what they're saying, along with all the immigration issues, what this thing is doing. It's had fairly high short positions in the past. Let me check that one real quick. XPE. No one's shorting this. It's been a while since anybody shorted this thing. So might have a nice move. If it did go lower, my guess is this thing is going to 115 where this gap up volume happened. And I would not be surprised, because guess what? What if they come out and they say, you know what, this immigration thing is going to hurt us? A lot of people wondering about coming here to the United States. You have a untested low at 111.88. Energy off the top from that November 23rd high down to that January 3rd low, and it was off by about 30. The actual energy and volume was off about 30% back up to this February 9 high. It hadn't been able to get back to the high. It's been particularly short, a great deal. Like I said, nobody really shorting this thing on the way up the last 5 or 6 days. So it could have decent downside. And you may even make a case that this is in a bigger ABC on the downside. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll get a few more of these in before the end of the day. You can call me at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, post messages in the den.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Yes, the one and only Tom O'Brien. Off to the money show. So we will have Steve Rhodes in the next hour. I'll be back in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll go through all the earnings in that 4 o'clock hour, and along with Andy Heck, I think, who's in that hour too. I got lots of questions for him. We'll have a good discussion. We were talking about gold stocks, and I forgot to get to too many of them, but I did want to show just a few of the things that had me kind of scratching my head the last few days, thinking that maybe the easy money in gold was over. November 2nd, $18.92. 25 million shares on gold. Really got into it with about 17 million shares. Energy's not all that bad off the low. But again, you probably should have hit those highs with some better volume out here. As we got back into some very heavy down days in volume going back on the 11th and 10th of November in Anglo mines. As you got back into those candles that had 4.6 million shares down, we've been doing, a million two, something like that. Other ones out here, which is, was this one of the ones I was looking at? Maybe a shorter frame out here. No, that one wasn't. Maybe it was AUY. AUY getting back, the same thing. Some of these, you had 3 big candles on the way down in a lot of these stocks, and that's basically what you're running into. Not a lot of volume today. And, of course, these are probably the weaker of the stocks, but, again, those are going to give you the signal that you're running into resistance levels in gold. And, of course, you had that with 18 million shares, 22.5 million shares, 26 million shares. And as you got back into those candle days where everybody wants to get their cash back, you're basically 8, 10, 11 million share days. So kind of the best of the bunch already over. Let's see out here. Dr. Gold. I assume this is a gold stock. I don't know much about it. Getting right back up to its huge gap down that goes back to the 22nd of August. EGO, which is a big player out here. Again, energy's back up. This thing gap down, filled it. But on the 4th of October with 8.4 million shares. Getting into it with 9.5 million shares. But you had some days in there that were pretty much there. So, again, you're going to have to kind of chew through those levels. And, again, any kind of reversal in the dollar index is going to be problematic. Dollar index on the March contract is 166. I suspect that we're going to see later today or tonight, probably $100.80 is going to be the tough part of resistance on the upside in the dollar index. If you get through $100.80 tonight, that's where I think a lot of the shorts really started piling on in the dollar index, and that is where you could see a short squeeze in the dollar back up to 102. A lot of people were piling on in the last few days of moving the dollar back down to 100 on the dollar index, and kind of like the TLT, you can get some big moves out of these things when you get a lot of people all pushing on one side, and I think that's what it is in the dollar. I can't guarantee you're going to hit that level, but if you do, my guess is you're going to see a lot of short covering above that $100.80 level. GFI, do we have enough time to get a few more of these? We'll do them tonight if we can't. Same thing, though, again, in Goldfields, you had the 3 big down days. In November, they had huge volume. What did you have? You just kind of hit those big days, and that's a big supply line. Not surprised that you're seeing a little bit of pullback in these already. Anyway, so when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you tonight, 4 o'clock.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.